my name is Claire Coleman. I am Connecticut's Consumer Counsel and the head of the state agency called the Office of Consumer Counsel, also known as the OCC. In our last training, we introduced you to PURA and OCC and discussed what PURA can and cannot do. In this training, we will discuss the public record on which PURA relies and how you can participate in a PURA proceeding. What is the public record and why is it important? There are many different drivers for PURA to open a docket. The legislature can require PURA to open a docket, stakeholders can request that PURA open a docket, or PURA can decide for themselves to open one. A docket is often initiated with a schedule that outlines key dates and a notice of proceeding that contains the reasons PURA initiated the docket, the purpose and scope of the docket, including, in some cases, questions for consideration and comment, the name of and contact information for the case coordinator, a list of designated participants and intervenors, and any guidelines or requirements for participants and intervenors. As the docket progresses, you can see the interrogatories and comments of everyone participating in the docket and reference that information in your interrogatories and comments. You can use your interrogatories and comments to establish support for or dispute the topic at issue in the docket. Your interrogatories and comments may address the entire filing or be focused on specific areas of interest. You can use your questions and comments to add information relevant to the docket topic that is not included in the filing, information that you feel is important and should be considered by PURA and others. Your questions and comments in one docket may be referenced in other dockets. When the same kinds of questions and comments appear in multiple dockets, it helps to demonstrate areas of high and sustained interest and can direct PURA's attention to those issues. Here is a broad overview of ways you can participate in a PURA docket to draw attention to issues that are important to you. We'll cover the specifics of how precisely to participate in upcoming videos. In some dockets, such as rate cases, PURA offers the opportunity for public comment at a location within the community. The utility will send all customers notice regarding these public comment sessions. Any customer may attend and will have a set amount of time to provide PURA their comments on the requested rate increases. The public is invited to attend and observe all active dockets before PURA, which include less formal dockets, such as technical meetings or general information sessions, as well as more formal dockets, such as procedural conferences, evidentiary hearings, and oral arguments. Hearings can be either virtual or in person, most commonly in a hearing room at PURA's offices in New Britain, Connecticut. The public can also offer oral comments during the spot on the agenda reserved for public comment, which is typically at the beginning or end of that agenda. Any member of the public is also free to send written comments for PURA's consideration in any docket or by filing the comment in the docket via PURA's filing system. You don't have to be a participant in a docket to provide public comments, and there are no filing deadlines or formal requirements for the submission of public comments. These public comments can express any viewpoint that the author chooses in the format and structure of their choosing. Although public comment may not be given the same weight as other material in the docket, they are an important way for PURA to get a sense of how particular issues might be affecting members of the public. Now that we've covered less formal participation, we will move on to more formal participation. There are several types of more formal participation, including interrogatories, testimony, briefs, and appearing as a witness at a hearing. Let's start by talking about interrogatories. PURA staff and intervenors can issue written questions on docket materials and require written responses to be filed. These questions are called interrogatories. You can direct interrogatories to any party or intervenor pertaining to any evidence or relevant commentary they have offered in the proceeding. You cannot direct interrogatories to PURA or PURA staff. Interrogatories are also subject to the docket schedule. They can only be issued within a certain window of time and must be answered by an identified deadline. In some dockets, PURA staff may pose general questions or topics of interest for you and other intervenors to consider and comment on. These requests are often specific questions from PURA staff, seeking input from intervenors on very particular topics relevant to the docket. These written comments usually must be submitted by an identified deadline. In general, deadlines are not flexible and participants should adhere to them. If you participate in these types of dockets, you can request the opportunity to provide a presentation summarizing your thoughts on the questions and topics. The agenda will provide the number and sequence of these presentations. You may develop a memo or PowerPoint slides to accompany your comments, and if you do so, the materials need to be ready to be shared with all participants in advance. After you are done presenting, other participants and PURA staff members may ask you questions about your presentation. You will also be able to ask questions of other presenters after their presentations. Intervenors in more formal dockets can also submit pre-filed testimony. This is the most formal form of participation and is essentially the written form of testifying on a witness stand during an evidentiary hearing. If you file pre-filed testimony, you will be asked to adopt it under oath, and the testimony will be subject to cross-examination, questioning by other intervenors during hearings that you will participate in. You may also cross-examine other intervenors. The questions you ask others need to be related to interrogatory responses sponsored by a certain person or people, or other material filed in the docket by a specific person or entity, such as a utility company. PURA will ask you in advance for a list of who you'd like to cross-examine and an estimate of how long your cross-examination will take. Then, PURA will issue an agenda based on the input of everyone who wishes to engage in cross-examination. You will be given your opportunity to ask questions of a person or people on a designated day during the hearings in the order listed on the agenda for that day. PURA often requests briefs from intervenors at the end of more formal dockets. Briefs are often lengthy, formal, and prepared by attorneys, but stakeholders should not be intimidated by the prospect of filing briefs, because they are your opportunity to articulate your final position and arguments on the docket after all the evidence has been filed. Now that we've described how you can participate in PURA dockets, you might want to know how you can get started. Some of you may have seen an article in the news about a proceeding and want to know more. You will need to know the docket number to locate documents related to the proceeding on PURA's website. Docket numbers are a series of 6 numbers. The first 2 digits represent the last 2 digits of the year the docket was open, like 24 for 2024. The second 2 digits represent the month the docket was open. The last 2 numbers is the case number assigned during that month. For example, the 4th case opened the month of September in 2024 would be assigned docket number 24-09-04. The easiest way to locate the docket number is to email pura.information@ct.gov about the information you are referencing and ask for the docket number. Some of you may want more general information about what is going on at PURA. You can find out more about all activities, including active dockets, inactive dockets, and undocketed matters at portal.ct.gov/PURA. On the docket information page, you can sign up for public notification emails, view agendas and final decisions, and search for a docket by number. When you click on active dockets and then on docket schedules from this page, you can see a list of all the active dockets. Each one has a link that takes you to a docket schedule. These docket schedules are also known as time schedules and are often marked by the abbreviation TS within each PURA docket. To ensure you are accessing the most updated time schedule for the docket, make sure you view the PDF version of the schedule, which you can find at the bottom of the docket's time schedule page. There is a specific deadline included in the notice of proceeding when you need to make your request to participate in a docket, referred to as Request for Participant or Intervenor Status Due. Once your request to participate is granted, you will be added to the docket service list. This means that you will receive a notification and service list email every time any party or PURA files something in the docket. If anyone files confidential material in the docket, you will not receive a copy of that confidential material unless you execute a non-disclosure agreement with the entity that filed the material. PURA does not share confidential material with external entities. The schedule also contains dates for specific items in the docket, such as when written comments are due, when hearings will occur, when the record closes, or when briefs are due. This concludes this training video. At this point, you may feel excited to participate and nervous about the experience. You may have more detailed questions about the process, such as what is going to happen and when? Who can I expect to interact with? How will others treat me? And how should I act around them? What will be expected of me? What can I prepare for and how can I best prepare? What can I expect to observe and hear? In our next training, we will answer these questions for 2 different types of dockets, uncontested and contested dockets. And we'll do a walkthrough of a hearing room so you can see where the commissioners and witnesses sit, as well as where members of the public go to provide comment. Please join us. We also encourage you to watch all the trainings and to reach out to us with any questions or feedback you have. You can contact us at occtraining@ct.gov. Thanks so much for joining us.